Okay, I'd like to welcome everyone and good evening. I believe this time in our history has made all of us much more aware of our health and having a second or third source of income, preferably one with residual income, meaning you make the effort once and income keeps coming in on an ongoing basis. It's like writing a book or making an ad and the income keeps coming in once you've written it. What's even better is reproductive residual income. You introduce a business opportunity to a person you want to be in business with, they join you in business, and they introduce the opportunity to others who join. And that way, your residual income keeps growing. With that, I'm excited to introduce you to three extraordinary men who were introduced to ASEA, saw the bigger vision of what this is and where it was going, and made the decision to get involved. All of them in a very part-time basis to begin with, as they had full-time careers. So I'd like to start with Dr. Foster Malmed. And Dr. Foster, could you tell us what you were doing when you were introduced to ASEA, why you decided to join, and how you fit it into your very busy schedule, and why as a doctor, you decided to put your reputation on the line to go with saltwater?
Can you hear me okay, Deb?
Yes.
Beautiful. Thanks so much. Very complex question, very compound question, but I'll try to remember all the parts. Okay, so the second one, why did I join? It was to shut someone up. So someone said, I have something I want you to look at. And I said, I really want to look at it, but I looked at it. I was told it was an athletic product. And at the time, I'm a chiropractor. This is my 37th year as a chiropractor. And it was my 27th year as a chiropractor, and I had just achieved my dream of working in a New York hospital. So I had kept my nose clean. I didn't kill anybody or hurt anybody for 27 years, and I was part of a New York hospital, and that's when I was introduced to this product. I was told it helped the cardiovascular system for athletes. My wife was an athlete. I was an athlete. My wife had been suffering some with a condition that left her very uncomfortable for many years. And we started drinking this athletic product again to shut someone up who was bothering me. And I trusted him enough that this product wouldn't hurt us. And in a few days, my wife had some miraculous results, something that nobody could have helped her with in many years, and certainly not myself, and I was her doctor. A few days later, I had my own incredible results. My mental clarity improved greatly. My seasonal issues, my GI issues were all improved in ways they hadn't expected. And as I saw that this was looking real, I started to do the research, and I am a researcher. I started reading the book written by the atomic medical physicist who stabilized these molecules. And I got halfway through the book and I said to my wife, this is why you're better. This is why I'm better. The guy who told us this was only an athletic product is a dope, and this is going to change the world. So we went to the launch of the company, even though I was very happy being a chiropractor, living my dream, being a hospital chiropractor. And we saw the launch of the company. We met the physicist. We met Bertus Norton, Tyler Norton. We met the executives. And we were a little shocked as skeptical New Yorkers that this seemed much too real and much too good to be true. So we decided that when I got back to the hospital, I certainly wasn't going to talk about network marketing. That was selling a saltwater product from Salt Lake City. I wasn't doing that, but I would share it with some of my patients that needed some help. And I gave it to 5 of them, and all 5 had the same results that my wife and I had. They had vast improvements in problems they were suffering from for a long time, and those changes happened anywhere between 3 days and 3 months. A couple of them were 3 months, but they all had the same change. And then one of my favorite patients had a really severe issue. And when we saw that problem turn in a way that none of us expected, that's when we said, okay, we need to take this more seriously. And at the same time, so now I'm this successful, notice the quote mark, successful chiropractor in a hospital. The income for my hospital position was decreasing. Insurance companies were paying less. The doctors were joining up in large groups that were forbidding referrals to yours truly. And my dream was becoming a nightmare. And the week that I got a check from, I'll say it, from Medicare, it was for 12 cents. That was very depressing. But the same week, I made $300 from my ASEA sales. And I was not doing network marketing. I was just sharing an amazing product that I believed in because I saw amazing results and I met the people who ran the company. And I came home and I said, Terry, I think we have to look at this business model because this other business model that I've been doing for 27, 28 years looks like it's heading south, and this other one has real potential. So we called our upline, we barely knew what an upline was, and said, okay, we get it. This is the business model of the future. The product is the product of the future. Consider that we have rings in our noses help drag us to success. And that's how we learned what network marketing really was all about, that this is an honorable profession, that when it's done with proper ethics and a proper heart and tenacity, you can make this an amazing business. So with this most recent turn of events, with this virus that started a handful of weeks ago, I was a full-time chiropractor in New York City, and now I'm not. So my plan B has now become my plan A. And as I work this plan A harder than I did when it was a plan B, it's amazing. So I love this product. I love this company. I love this network marketing business model. And it couldn't be in a better place and with better hands. So thanks so much, Debbie, for inviting me. I think you should unmute, Deb.
Thank you, Foster. See, I knew doctors were always smarter than me. Would you just briefly tell us a little bit about how you brought it into your business, if there are doctors listening or professionals listening? Did you put up a display? Did you
absolutely
have,
so,
okay.
That was a great question. Did I have a display? Okay, so, and I'm going to give Lynn S. all the credit. One of my patients had this idea. We had the boxes of ASEA. And so what I did was, in my office, there was one room that everybody had to walk by. And so my network was really just my patients. And so I built a tower of 4 boxes, then 3, then 2, then 1. And as I walked past that room and patients would say, oh, what is that? I'd say, oh, that's the most powerful wellness product on the planet. And it's not a pyramid, but it looked like a pyramid. And so that got their interest. And then when they would say, oh, tell me more, I don't have time. But on the way out, my office manager will give you something to look at, and we would hand them a brochure, or we take their email address and send them a link, and I'd be seeing them again within a week, and if I wasn't, I'd do a follow-up call. But it was all about just piquing their interest. So when doctors say incorrectly, because that's what I used to say, I don't have the time, the key is just pique the interest and get them to say, sure, I'd like to hear about another revenue stream. Sure, I'd like to hear about the greatest health and wellness product or athletic product on the planet. Sure, I'd like to learn about not aging so quickly and feeling younger. And that's where I would stop and say, perfect, we'll send you information. Come on in, let's do your adjustment. And so I would then say on the way out, please give Deb, please send her some information. And we just send an email that it would have a link. And then we'd follow up either in person, or if they weren't coming in, we'd give a call. Did that answer your question, Deb?
Absolutely. And thank you for that information. And I'd like everyone to know that Dr. Foster Mohammed is now one of our leaders. He's a triple diamond in ASEA, making a very good income. He's also on the medical professional board. So we thank you for your great service, because I know you do research, and you're who I go to a lot of times for those research questions. Thank you so much, Dr. Foster. David. Oh, I won't tell David.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank
you so much. I hope I helped.
You did. Thank you. All right. The next man we're going to talk to was very busy when he first got started, Mr. Jim Glenn. And I'm just going to ask the same questions, Jim. I just want to know, and people want to know, because of what the format of this is, how you fit ASEA into your very, very, very busy schedule at the time, and what drew you in, since you were already working, I believe, 2 jobs, 2 other things, and then how you fitted in, like I said.
I was a stockbroker for 30 years, and all of a sudden one day I'm out of a job. And so I came home and I started sharing investments from here with what's called a fixed indexed annuity. I still started to help. I continued to help my clients. And I also, for my whole life, I grew up on a small or a big farm, actually a horse farm up in Ohio. And I always had a fascination with rocks. And I love to build things with rocks, retaining walls. But then I started going into water features because I grew up playing in a creek. And so I would build water features. So I had my two jobs. One, I was doing investments out of my house, still working with all my old clientele base that I had from my previous 28, 29 years in the industry at that time. So I was reaching out to them, and then I was building a water feature. So we ended up landing multiple jobs building $20, $25, $30,000 koi ponds. And so I would go out in the morning because it's hot in Texas in the summertime, spring, summer, fall. And so I would go out in the morning, and I had a buddy helping me, and I did the majority of the manipulating of the rocks. And I'll backtrack a little bit. I've had 10 back surgeries. At the time, I had 6 levels fused in my lower back, and I was addicted to pain pills. So here I am doing investments out of my home and going and visiting clients throughout all South Texas. And then every day I was building these water features. And so I would do the water features in the morning, get that out of the when the day is cooler. But then I would come home and I was just flat out exhausted. And my back was killing me. And again, I was still taking my roughly 500 pain pills a month. I also had nerve damage in my left leg. And so I'm hobbling around, but I had to do it. I had no choice. That was how we were making money. My amazing wife, Ann, was also an ad executive. And she's also had 2 jobs as well. She was also doing advertising and also doing, actually she had 3. She was doing exercising, nutrition coach, athletic coach, and then she was also doing ASEA. So we got introduced to ASEA 5 years ago. My best friend, who's a banker, his wife's a youth pastor, came over. He actually shared it at dinner one evening. And I just kind of laughed it off. I go, oh no, God, what's he gotten into now type comment. But then a couple of days later, a week or 2 later, he made a phone call and he came over to my home and he shared the product. Now, he showed us a couple things. I could tell immediately that it did something to me. And so that intrigued me. But I also knew the condition of my body. At the time, I was 58 years old. And I'll be very frank with you, I was scared to death of growing older. I had a lot of fear. I had been through multiple stock market doing this. And so it's not a very good way to live. And I had been through a divorce and lost everything. So when the stock market's up, you're brilliant. When the stock market's going down, you have a very difficult time attracting new clientele. So that's why I was doing the water features to help stabilize my income. So Robert comes over, shares the stuff. I go, this might be my gig. This might be what I've been looking for my whole life. I've always felt like during my whole life that I never lived up to what I could do. I was a broker again for 30 years, had a lot of success in the good years, and then the bad years were not pretty. I changed firms a couple of times. Got paid a lot of money to change companies, but then I went through the 01, 02 crash in the market, and that just buried me. So 5 years ago, we're struggling. Robert, my friend, comes over to the home, shares the stuff with me. I go, you had me at hello. I trusted him. I get the product within a couple of days. All the discomfort that I had was gone. I couldn't think clearly. I couldn't process my thoughts. I'm a fast talker. I talk a lot. I talk loud. And I couldn't get my words out. But that in a couple of days, I could think clearly. I could say what I wanted to say. And So then this thought came into my brain, and I just go, gosh, if this is real, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. I used to do a lot of IPOs, initial public offerings, as a broker, and I've seen some of the most brilliant minds on Wall Street and in the San Antonio business market. And I'm just going, okay, if this stuff is real, nobody else has it, it works, can't hurt anything. Good Lord. So I started studying the founder, and I did my due diligence on him. I trusted my body to tell me the stuff was real, but I had to know the opportunity. And I had never done network marketing. I had been approached a lot. I never had anything negative against it, but maybe a few preconceived ideas. It just never seemed to fit me. I'm very much of a homebody. I'm very outgoing and bubbly, and I needed a work environment. But when I come home, I like to go to my backyard and play in my garden, play in my water features. So when I discovered that it was real, then at nighttime, at the time, Terry Latham was coming down every week to do these meetings, and I would always go in my shorts and a tank top, not tank top, but just a regular polo t-shirt. And I just started listening more and listening more. And Terry always said that it's not easy. It's not easy. At the time, he was a triple diamond 5 years ago. And so we started going to these weekly meetings. I started getting engaged. And then we started sharing it. And then at nighttime and during lunch breaks. And I mean, I controlled my own schedule, but I still had brokerage and building my water features. And that only lasted maybe another 6-8 months. And I gave the water features up because frankly, it was, I just didn't have time because I focused all my attentions then on ASEA. But it was slow. It was not easy. And then I got really sick and tired of brokerage, and I pulled the plug. And I probably did it too early. I just said, I can't do brokerage. This stuff, we had had so many amazing things happen. So I jumped ship. I let my licenses lapse. And I said, okay, Lord, this is all you. And then Ann was still working 3 jobs along with ASEA. And so she started engaging more and more, and we started to grow. And then we started to get this family feeling. And I never had that in the brokerage world. It's dog eat dog. I would work with other brokers, but no one was really out there to help. And it was all up to me. I mean, in the earlier days, I was making $200, $250 a day. So cold calling wasn't a problem for me. And we just continued to grow. It was slow, a lot slower than what I thought we would be diamond or triple diamond. I wanted to beat the heck out of Latham and be higher than him, but it was a lot harder than I thought, to be very frank with you. It's an easy concept, but it's difficult because you have to continually make the calls. You got to just talk to people. And so, 2 of our great successes actually came from, because you're going to, I wish I could see you, Debbie. I don't know where you are, but there you are. What else did you want me to cover? Or do you want to go to Alan and then come back?
Oh, no. No, I wanted you to cover where you were, what you did, and how you fit this in part-time,
Okay.
which you did basically, and then, and why you decided to join, and you've gone into all of that. So if there's anything else,
Okay.
that you would like to add, absolutely.
Yeah, there is. I've always heard on a lot of the meetings that we have, with every great, phenomenal discovery, there's an opportunity, always. But I'm going to say that's not the case here. And when I did brokerage and when I did my IPOs, I would call you up and I go, Debbie, I've got a phenomenal offering here. I've got until Friday. I would give you the rundown of what the company was, what they did, why I liked it. And then I would ask you for a $50,000, $100,000 commitment. But you had to have money.
Right.
And a lot of the people that I dealt with didn't have the money. But when I look at this opportunity, and it's so limited in that there's no ripple effect of other businesses that can benefit from what we do. And this is, and I'm going to say it's not just once in a lifetime. This is a once in forever. You'll never see anything like this again. And how this will affect the people, the economy. If there's any way that we can pull out of what's going on right now, to me, it's this. And it's only up to one person, and it's up to me. And I had that as a broker. But what's different here, Debbie, like you're cross-lined to us, and we're part of the same family, but we're a different side of the family. But yet you help us. You've helped me from day one when I got into this, when we were out working in a small Texas town, and you were there. You always said yes, but yet you didn't benefit from that. I would never have that as a broker. Right. In any other industry, it's a cutthroat, and I hated brokerage. You're always waiting for the phone call to come in and say you have a complaint. And in the brokerage world, you're guilty until you're proven innocent. And you can lose your license like that. You can lose your entire livelihood for something you didn't do wrong. But the opportunity that we have here, you'll never see anything like this again. And when people have anything to say about network marketing, I mentioned one name, Warren Buffett. And when I heard he had either 3 or 6 network marketing companies, I go, wow, you're either smarter than him or you want to join what he's doing. But yet you want to pick the right company. And I feel sorry for a lot of people, Debbie, that picked the wrong horse to attach their wagon to. But don't blame that on network marketing. There's no other model, nowhere, that's more American than network marketing. Because we've got a young lady that's part of our group now that's making a whole lot more than I am. And it's awesome. It is such a blessing to know that because we opened our mouth, that there are now a lot of people that are making a lot of money that's protecting them and saving their family from ruin. And I don't know where else you could do this.
No, so it is a great equalizer as far as that goes. Everybody can get in for the same price, and it's totally your decision as to what you want to do with it and how much you want to make. And I will say that
your story.
I will say Jim's one of our leaders also.
Yeah, thank you, Debbie. I really appreciate it.
Okay. Yeah, Jim's one of our diamond leaders and making a very good income now, but started very part-time with a big dream of what this could do for him. So he didn't have to be breaking his back doing rocks and or being very nervous about the stock market. So that's wonderful. We're so happy you joined our company. Thank you. Absolutely. All right. Lastly, I'm going to go to a man with a huge vision. He was one of the first people in ASEA. He had absolutely no tools, no videos, no brochures, nothing to give to people to tell them about salt water from Salt Lake City. He just went in and jumped in with both feet. And he has an incredible stories. He is now one of our big leaders, one of our biggest leaders in ASEA. And Alan Noble, will you tell us kindly your story?
Hey, thanks, Debbie. Appreciate it. It's been great. It's been great listening to Dr. Foster and to Jim and just hearing their stories. And everybody has their own unique story, and it's kind of like our fingerprint here at ASEA. We're all one big family, but we're all individuals. And big thank you to you for hosting this call. Yeah, look, my story goes back to 1993, so I'll have to be fast. I graduated with a degree in international finance. From Queen's University, Belfast. I'm from Northern Ireland. Belfast, the famous city, famous for all the wrong reasons. But I graduated top of my class from the top university. And I don't say that to boast or brag, but simply to state that I was prepared to walk into pretty much any career I wanted in the world of finance, stockbroking like Jim, or financial analyst, fund management, banking, whatever it was. But I had this stirring feeling in my gut that I call being psychologically unemployable. And I just didn't want a job. Didn't want it. Wasn't lazy. But freedom was my single most important word. I always say, if I ever get a tattoo, Debbie, it's going to say freedom, you know, because that is the word that defines me. I want to live life on my terms. I don't want to clock in, clock out, being told, you know, what time to show up, what time to go home, when to have my vacation, maybe even where I have to live based on a job. And at 22, 23 years of age, I felt that calling, that freedom and living life in my terms was critical for me. It was number one. So not knowing what I wanted to do, I put on a backpack and went and trekked 22 countries in Africa. Sat with the mountain gorillas, climbed Kilimanjaro, did all sorts of wonderful things. But I came back and then started a master's in finance. Still didn't know. And then it all changed. It was one of those days. I actually have this little book right beside me, and it's called The Boom Business of the 90s. And this little 96-page book changed my life. I was introduced to the business model of network marketing. Wasn't on a Zoom. We didn't have the internet back then. It wasn't in a hotel meeting. It wasn't in a big rah-rah meeting. It was in really like an economics textbook. This is what changed my life, 96 pages. And in that moment, I saw the most incredible business model that I'd ever seen. I couldn't understand why they didn't teach me this business model in my finance and economics degree. It didn't make sense to me because everything made sense. The power of leveraged income, the power of residual income, the power of global income. And so I got started in that industry, in that business. Now, that was 1993. Fast forward, I ended up walking out of the industry for two very simple reasons. I couldn't find a unique, exceptional product that I wanted to put my name on. There was a lot of same old Me Too products, my daddy can beat up your daddy stuff, but I couldn't find that story that had never been told before. That unique, exceptional product that I felt was going to change the world, that motivated me to go out there and tell that story, to get on my white horse and say, let's charge, the world deserves to know about this. I couldn't find it. There was just this very bland buffet of mediocre products. I also was finding it very difficult to find a company I could trust. A company that I felt I could build with, put my head in my pillow and felt my business was safe. There was a lot of loving money, but using people going on in the industry. And so I was at this place where I loved the business model. It makes so much economic sense. There is no finer business model, but I was really struggling to find my company. I call it my princess in that. You got to kiss a few frogs to find your princess. And I was struggling to find it. And so for almost 8 years, I walked away from the industry full time. And so when ASEA crossed my path, I was helping build a financial services company in Denver, Colorado, your neck of the woods. And I was kind of a director of sales roles. I was building sales tools, training a nationwide sales team. And I was working flat out, literally putting these tools together, helping this company get off the ground. And I was literally working 12 to 16 hours a day. If God had invented an 8-day week, I would have been working it. I mean, I was literally working around the clock. It was never ending. The to-do list just never ended. And so when ASEA crossed my path, how it happened, I was certainly not looking for a business opportunity. This was where my business focus and commitment was, building this financial services company. But a family member got sick with a very serious health challenge, and they went on various treatments that there was no improvement and made actually the challenge even worse. And so in May of 2009, it'll be my 11-year anniversary next week. How about that? But in May 2009, I remember my dad calling me and telling me the situation. And I said, listen, I'm going to go find the most powerful health technology I can find. I'm going to find something that can tap in and really empower your body to take care of itself. And that became my mission. I don't know if the people listening here tonight believe in the power of prayer or the power of intention. But I'm telling you, when you send forth strong intention with emotion behind it, the universe responds. And within 5 days, I heard about redox signaling molecules. And that was kind of unusual when there were no videos, there were no brochures. I mean, there was nothing. It was just silence. How I ever, stumbled on it, I think today is still a miracle. But I heard about these molecules and I was intrigued. Now, what got me intrigued was I considered myself a fairly educated person when it came to health and wellness and nutrition. I'd done a lot of studying since '93. I'd done a lot of studying in health and wellness, read a lot of books, attended a lot of seminars. And yet, Debbie, I'd never heard of redox signaling molecules. And that's what got my attention. It's like, what is this? They're saying these are foundational to our entire signaling and healing system. And so I jumped on a plane, went from Denver across the Rockies to Salt Lake City, and I sat down with the owners, and I sat down with some brilliant scientists, and they opened up the world to me. There were no videos to watch, so they opened up the world of this, and I got it straight away. I got it very, very quickly. It all made sense to me. Again, I wasn't really looking for a business. I was extremely busy, but you're looking at somebody who loves the business model of network marketing. In the back of my mind, I had always these two check boxes: an exceptional, unique product, the story that had never been told before, and a company I could trust. Now, we're not here necessarily to tell the whole story of ASEA, but if you do your research, if we've got guests listening here tonight, you'll realize we check both those boxes. We have the most significant health breakthrough of our lifetime. We have a company that places principle and purpose and people above pure ego and economics. So those two boxes got checked for me. Now, why did I join? I think was one of your questions. Well, I couldn't not join. I mean, here I was since 1993, really kissing frogs, looking for my princess. Now my princess shows up. What you got to do? What did Beyonce say? Put a ring on it, you know? That's what I had to do. And so I had to join this company. Now then I'm left with this challenge. Okay, I start shipping the product home to my dad. My father gets remarkable results within 4 months. My wife gets an amazing 24-hour experience, discomfort in her hips, back, down her leg after the birth of my oldest daughter. For 10 months, this had been a challenge for her. We tried everything under the sun, every nutritional product you can imagine, exotic juices, the whole lot. Nothing worked. And all of a sudden I come home with these molecules and it was like flicking the light switch. I often use the analogy, I was coming home with light bulbs. Hey, try this light bulb, try this light bulb, try this light bulb. My wife's still sitting in the dark. Then one day I came home with the power supply and boom, lights come on. 24 hours, life-changing testimonial with ASEA. And so this was a big clue. This was, okay, something's going on here. This product can do things that no other product can do because it contains things that no other product contains. These very, very powerful molecules. And so I didn't have a choice. When you understand what this is, and you understand how unique this company is, you don't have a choice. It's just a question of how you're going to make it work. And so I had to really work smart. I was extremely busy. I had a lot of responsibility on my shoulders. And my first 10 months in this business were absolute living proof that you can weave this business into the busiest of schedules. And a couple of ideas here. Number one, time is overrated, Debbie. People count time too much. You know, I can use an analogy of somebody going to the gym and for 2 hours wandering around the gym, sipping the juice at the juice bar, taking selfies with their phone, checking their playlist, you know, texting people, and occasionally lifting some weights. The 2 hours is irrelevant. It's nothing to do with the results. You can take somebody 20 minutes, go in there, spike their heart rate multiple times, put their muscles under tremendous duress, and get a very high intensity workout. And today we know that intensity moves the needle, not time. And so I knew these basic principles that I could still be successful if I could just show up in high intensity in short little periods of time. And that's what I did. I remember literally I was working in an office building and I think people think I had bathroom problems because I was always running to the bathroom and I would go up to the top floor. We were like on the 3rd floor. I used to go up to the top floor to use their bathroom and I would just like walk around making phone calls in the cracks of the day, you know, in my bathroom breaks, driving home, stopping at a stoplight, making a phone call saying, hey, listen, I've stumbled on something that is absolutely astonishing. This is the biggest breakthrough we've ever seen in health and wellness. It's got no competition, no copycats. It's life-changing. Does that sound like something you want to know about? And I then had to create some tools because I didn't have time to give Zoom calls or presentations or PowerPoints. And so I made some really simple, basic tools. The first tool was a little 3-minute sizzle call. A little 3-minute sizzle call that I could either three-way somebody onto and have them listen to it. And like I used to time it. Okay, 3 minutes is up. Hey, do you see why I'm excited? And that used to be the same question every time. That was my follow-up question. Hey, Debbie, do you see why I'm excited? And more often than not, the answer was, yeah, this sounds amazing. Or else I'd say, hey, call this number and I'll call you back in 10, 15 minutes. And when I made those phone calls, people knew that this had to be important because I was busy. Sometimes I'd start my calls and say, Debbie, listen, I literally have about 10 minutes and I've got to make 3 or 4 phone calls here. So I got to keep this short. And I went into the conversation, not talking about the weather, not talking about what I had for dinner. I went into the conversation with a sense of, this is important. You deserve to know about it. And although I barely have time to tell you, I'm making time because it's that important. Now, do you think that changed the whole tone of the conversation? Absolutely. Sometimes we've too much time on our hands. I think one of the biggest challenges with people in this business is they have too much time in their hands. And so I was super effective. It was high intensity in short periods of time. And then I went on to create what today is known as Amazing Molecules and Amazing Molecules Training, to create tools that I could leverage, that could do the heavy lifting for me, that could explain the breakthrough in more details, explain the business, explain the compensation plan so I didn't have to. And that, of course, is the key to duplication. And then training tools to help somebody get started. And so these tools did the heavy lifting for me and created a very simple duplication platform that others could then use. But that was the beginning. You then put into that. I then walked away from that that was May. I walked away from that in October, but then I was on 2 different continents. I was back in Ireland, and now we're working with a 6-7 hour time difference. And again, you had to work really, really smart. And so it's, if I can share anything on this, it's time does not move the needle. It's what you do in the time, it's intensity. And Parkinson's law states that the work will expand to the time available. And sometimes it's beneficial to make less time available. So there's my thoughts, Debbie.
Well, I can't thank you enough. And you and Jim and Dr. Malmet all had pretty big whys to do this, to get that sense of urgency and to make you, do it. I know you were working to make the money needed to be here in this country. Jim Glenn didn't want to rely. He was getting older, didn't want to rely on the stock market anymore. And Dr. Malmet, doctors have it rough with the HMOs and all the things that and all the insurance they have to pay and everything like that. And to get a check for 12 cents from Medicare, that's pretty sad. So I know it helped all of you with your income that you were already making, and then you made it your #1 income.
Yeah.
So,
Debbie, here's the thing. I had every reason not to do this business.
Mm-hmm.
All you need is one good reason to do it.
That's right.
Everybody has lots of reasons not to do it. You just got to go find the one good reason why you have to do it. And I had a very, very clear reason. And that reason had a deadline as well attached to it, which was April 1st, 2010, which was literally 11 months after I joined. It was 10 and a half months after I joined. I had a deadline. And it's interesting how the world works. When you have a must-have, one big reason, that's all you need. Again, there are no such things as coincidence. I absolutely hit my deadline the very week that was necessary. And that's when I became a diamond in ASEA in 10 and a half months. And again, never looked back. And it's been an incredible, incredible decade of my life.
Absolutely.
It's just incredible.
It has. And we can't thank you enough, because when I got in, I was in the same boat with very, very, very little time, high intensity. I had a deadline, was about to lose my home. And thank heavens you created those tools. And I totally respect you for not having anything. I can't believe you were managing. But I used your tool every single time. So we all owe you a great deal of gratitude, and that's why you have that I am ASEA award up there behind you, because you have helped all of us in our business incredibly. So we can't thank you enough for that.
Well, thank you.
And Jim, any last thoughts from you?
Don't wait until you get in the position of you have to. And
True.
I know there's a lot of people right now that are unemployed, that are wondering what they can do. And I've asked a lot of people recently, what are your options? A lot of people don't have any options right now. And that's why we're soliciting people to help us go out and share this with the world. But my problem was I did not have a retirement plan set up. I had no one to take care of me but me. And the reality finally hit me that I have to be responsible for that. And I challenge anybody, what are your choices? And I'll say you have your feelings and you have the facts. Are you going to make a decision based on feelings, which are wobbly, or are you going to go with the facts? And I challenge everybody to do that. But if you look at the network marketing model and you look at our practice, our business, you'll never find anything like this again. Don't waste this opportunity.
Thank you. And any last thoughts from you, Alan?
Oh, I've always got a last thought, Debbie. You know that.
I know you do.
In sync with Jim here. Look, I like to say it like this: by the time you need a plan B, it's too late. And it's unfortunate that millions and millions of people have found that out the hard way. By the time you need a plan B, it's too late. And I think one of the things that we're going to see coming out of this is a greater awareness of the truth of that statement. We live in a very topsy-turvy world. In the old days, you know, you could go generations doing the same, you know, father to son, you know, career, job, nothing changed. You knew exactly what was going to next week was going to be like and what the next week was going to be like. Today, things change on a dime. We live in a very fluctuating, volatile world, and you need plan Bs. And I think we'll come out of this with a much bigger audience of people who realize that network marketing is the ultimate plan B. Now, look, if it becomes a plan A, like it did for me, like it did for you, Debbie, like it did for Jim. If it becomes a plan A, fantastic. But it's the perfect plan B. There is no better plan B, because there's no other business that you can work so part-time and yet have the potential to yield such massive full-time results. Literally part-time effort, consistent and intense, creating full-time results. You don't see that in the business world. What you get in, you get out. Not in this business. There's a magnification element of this business. And so it's plan business. And hey, if it becomes the plan A, fantastic. You know, there's no better way to, hey, what else are we going to do? We make a living while making a difference. We all have to make a living. I don't think there's a better way to make a living while making a profound difference in people's lives.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Well, we ended on his brilliant note, both of their brilliant notes. We can't thank you all enough for joining us, and bye for now.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you very much, Debbie.